bitches. I never talked to them boys that sat on them benches. I was in the game on 4th inches.
Yo, we're back 2 times in one day. Why are we back 2 times in one day? Well, I didn't plan on going live. And then it's like right after I got off of my lunch live stream, FSU decides, you know what? Let's drop a bag today. Let's drop a bag. And so that's what they did. They dropped 2 of them. Actually, they dropped more than 2. I think the entire staff got raises. But we know the coordinators are the ones that are going to get the most attention. So that's what we're going to focus on. And not only did that happen, then the one and only, for better or for worse, Newbird puts out a nugget that the LA Rams flew Alex Atkins out for an interview for the O-line coaching job. Sips tea. Water. So I said to myself, why not go live tonight and talk about that? Because I ain't got nothing to do. And I don't know, man. I feel like that's an interesting conversation. I feel like what have we always talked about? The potential loss of Alex Atkins. The one that you can see, but you want to pretend like it's going to never come. But you know Atkins is a hot commodity. Well, this all just proved it. Shout out to Mike Alford again, who continues to, every time I praise this man, he does something else. 1.3, I believe, is the raise for Alex Atkins. 1.3. Fuller's getting over 1. I don't know the exact numbers on either. It's just funny to me, man. We continue to talk about it, you know. On one end of the spectrum, you got Florida State. And it's like they're doing everything well this offseason, man. The portal came. FSU had a couple guys hit the portal. No one that you would say was a major loss. Trimmed the fat, as they say. Got back some of the top players out of the portal. No signs, a hell of a hires, should I say, a hell of a DB coach with a big name. Just everything's, I don't know, man. Everything just continues to go right for Florida State. And then you got the other end of the spectrum. Entire coaching staffs getting fired, going to lesser jobs, going to the NFL. And not just at one school, but at both rivals. Entire coaching staffs being completely turned over. And here's Florida State, just coasting this offseason, making all the right moves. Crazy, man. It's crazy. Crazy. It is your boy POLK over here on 863 Seminole TV. And I would like to welcome you to an impromptu live stream where we're just going to spitball here tonight about what just transpired over the last few hours. And that is FSU's Mike got his raise and the whole staff got taken care of as well. And this makes for a bigger buyout for the team that eventually does try to poach or does successfully poach Alex Atkins, whether that's NFL or whoever. FSU's going to get a little bit something back in return, it looks like. I don't know if Fuller gets poached, but you sure up a guy who's done nothing but improve over his tenure at Florida State at defensive coordinator. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, share the video, let everybody know we are live out here as we just kind of spit, cook, whatever you want to call it, talk about this extension. And what does that mean? What place is Florida State in right now? I mean, Florida State fans, you got to be feeling all this like warm and fuzzy. You have to. We went from being broke. I still got the thing on my finger, by the way. We went from being broke, NILs and shambles, all these things. And it's amazing how the narrative has changed in 1 year with Battle N. NIL's never been better. You can make a legit argument that Battle's End is setting the standard for how to handle NIL in the entire nation. You could legitimately make that case. Broke? Well, we got an $8 million coach, $1 million coordinators. Who's broke? $100 million facility being built. Who's broke? What happened? What happened in the course of 1 year? It's amazing what happened. Mike Alvarez dropping the hammer and what? Let me take another drink of water. Let me hit a real quick roll call real quick. And then, I'll get to the comments, see what y'all got to say about this. I don't really have anything to necessarily talk about. I just want everybody else's reaction to what's going on in this organization, in this program. I don't know how you can be a fan of Florida State or claim to be a fan of Florida State. And as of, we'll say March 1st, 2023, can look and be like, damn, and be angry about anything that's going on right now. If you can find something to be angry about as a Florida State fan as of March 1st, 2023, then good goddamn it, go find another team. Go find another team at this point. Island Boys in the building. Tyler Hedden, member at 863 Tribe. EMG, Peter Shields, member at 863 Tribe. Let's get it. Brandon, Josh Johnson, Rock Frazier, Ray Fitty, Panama Jack. No power in the building. Seriously, man, at this point, what are we mad? If we're mad at anything, what could you possibly be upset about? What could you possibly be pessimistic about? I just went through real quick. Continue to hit the comment section and continue to share the video. But let's see what some of y'all are talking about. I'm going to keep it real, man. Brandon had one of the better comments on the community post. And he brings it back up here again. So let's talk about it because I know that's where everybody, if there's something to be negative about, I know exactly where we're going to go. And we're going to go to that guy, Adam Fuller. Brandon says, I need to start a kill the Fuller propaganda train. So many people are mad he got extended. Doesn't make a lick of sense to me. Listen, let's talk about it. I'm not sitting here and telling you that this guy's the next Mickey Andrews, bro. He's not the next Kirby Smart. I'm not going to sit here and pretend. I'm not sitting here saying any of that. But damn it, man. People talking about you got to go to analytics. You don't have to go to any analytics to look at the success that Adam Fuller's had. You just go to raw stats. You don't got to dig into the analytics. All you got to do is look at 2020 where we ranked, like in the 150s or something ridiculous like that. 2021, right outside the top 50 defense. 2022, top 15 defense. What more needs to be said? What other coach in the country has that type of progression in 3 straight years and doesn't get some type of raise? It is exactly a propaganda machine, exactly like Brandon said. We've been so convinced that Fuller's garbage. And look, I was there with you. I was right there with you. The first couple years, more so that year one, but the first 2 years, he didn't give you a lot to cheer about. But hell, the team as a whole didn't give you a lot to cheer about. They couldn't score points and they couldn't stop anybody from scoring points in the first 2 years. That's just the facts. That's just the facts. I'm there with you. But he improved every year. Let me ask you another question. Would you say that FSU's defense this past year was how many NFL players you think was on last year's defense? Verse, Jamie, who else? Maybe the linebacking core. Who else? Can't say Lovett. Lovett didn't play enough. If Lovett was an NFL player, he would have went, right? Let's be real about that. If Lovett was an NFL player, he leaves. So 2, 4 if you're being kind, and that's just, again, and I'll say the same thing about the backers. I think if either one of them were legit NFL prospects, they go, but they're both coming back for senior years. So who was the legit NFL prospect on that defense? Jamie, Verse. That's it. Two guys. Now let's fast forward to 2023 season. Of course, Verse comes back. Fisk. He's going to be looked at. Cypress. He'll be looked at. All of a sudden, you're talking about maybe a few more guys that can flirt with the NFL. Those linebackers that I'm not so sure were NFL caliber last year, well, guess what? They're going to be another year. They might get looked at. We can all agree that Fuller didn't have all the best talent on the defense, as far as I'm concerned. And yet he made it work. And he made it work. And I just, again, I'm not saying the man is the next Mickey Andrews. But damn it, man, if the only thing you can say is, well, he didn't do good against good offense. Again, man, it's 2023. What good offenses are getting shut down week in and week out? I don't know what good offense is being held to 10 points a game. Did you not watch Ohio State have their way for the most part with the number one defense in the country the last 2 years running? Because they were a good offense with NFL players. Shit happens. People talk about Wake Forest. Hartman, arguably the best quarterback in the ACC last year. I know, I don't think he's better than Drake May. So the second best quarterback. Oh, and by the way, check the NFL Combine and check the receivers that were at Wake Forest. All of them NFL prospects, NFL caliber in the Combine right now. When you have professional football players, you tend to be good on offense. Did FSU have one corner last year that you would say would get an NFL Combine? No, they didn't. I'm just saying, man. And I ain't even scrolled back in the comments because I don't want to read anything until, we gotta. If your argument is that your man faced good offenses, and I've done this before. We actually went over the numbers of those good offenses. FSU held those good offenses to their averages. That's really all you can ask for in 2023. Is that you hold a good offense, and a good offense doesn't go for 45 on you. You hold them to their averages, to 30 points, 32 points. That's exactly what Florida State did with the Wake Forests, the Oklahomas, the Louisvilles. I'll scroll in the comments now. I can't even believe I'm at a point. I can't even believe that I'm at a point on this channel while I'm capping for Adam Fuller. I can't even believe that. Oh, how the tables have turned. I can't even believe I'm actually sitting here defending Adam Fuller. But it's like we've been programmed to hate this dude for some reason. And one thing about me is I don't give blind hate. I criticize where the criticism needs to be given. But when you start switching the narrative, I'll give you the praise you deserve. But I don't get why why we are so hesitant to just say, man, Adam Fuller might be a good defensive coordinator. He don't have to be the greatest of all time. He don't have to be necessarily, I don't know if Adam Fuller's top 25 D coordinators. I don't know. But that don't mean because you ain't in the top 25, that don't mean you're not a good one. There's 150 something schools in Division I football. You're in the top 30. You, in my opinion, you considered a good defensive coordinator. They hate him because we've been conditioned to hate him, and I get it. Years 1 and 2 were so bad. Even though when you go look at year 2, we weren't getting blown out like we were getting in year 1. I would argue year 2 had a lot more to do with how bad the quarterback position play was, from rotating from Travis and Milton, and we couldn't score points. Like, I know people look at Jacksonville State and they blame Adam Fuller. And sure, maybe you can blame the play call, but how the hell you only put up 17 points against Jacksonville State in the first place? Right? So we can play this little back and forth round robin against it's Fuller's fault. Whose fault is it? Tyler says, I think that the knock on Fuller at this point is he needs to get some NFL players. You can now, if we want to talk about Fuller and recruiting, whole different conversation in a way. I won't even argue that. I'm not even going to lie to you. I'm with you right there. If the argument is, well, can we start getting, like he said, some NFL players on this defense now, and maybe they brought some guys in the transfer portal? If this is what they call the new catchphrase that you hear now is this is a talent acquisition business, right? So you can say, well, dang, Fuller needs to recruit better, but I would argue we need to recruit better. If your names ain't Alex Atkins or Ron Dugans at this point, damn it, we need to recruit better across the board. Let's just keep it a bean. If you ain't Alex Atkins or Dugans at this point, we need to recruit better across the board. And that goes for Odell, JP, he couldn't land fall. If you ain't Dugans or Atkins, we need to recruit better across the board. Agreed, Cool Breezy. If we want to talk recruiting, you guys got me there. There's not much I can defend on the recruiting tip, but again, I've kind of beaten the dead horse on recruiting and the fact that I think we need some better recruiters as an entire staff, not just Atkins and Dugans, because Dugans is doing a pretty good job. He did a good job in the portal last year. Then he killed it in the high school ranks, and the potential class he has in 23 could be something to really, really look forward to. So everybody's kind of going to the recruiting. Again, you guys got me there. I really can't. I really can't defend the recruiting, but again, I can't defend the recruiting for the entire staff. I've kind of been there. Brandon says he literally got better as a talent. Talent and depth got better. It's amazing. You get better talent, you produce a better product. It is kind of crazy. How do y'all expect him to run a quality defense when some of your starters shouldn't be starting? Like, bro, we had Dix as a starting backer. That's true, year 1. What's up, Norvell Central? Adam Fuller got better as time went along, and he started to be more confident in calling his blitzes. Some may consider this another wait and see season with all the new pickups from the portal. I don't think so. I think Adam Fuller's not going to have any excuses. If your knock on Fuller is, I don't know, his play calling, maybe he doesn't blitz enough for you. I know the knock last year, people hated the fact they don't feel like we played enough zone. And I kept saying, well, you gotta play to your strengths. I think we didn't play zone that much, though we did play it. We play it more than I think people actually think. But that's because did you have the personnel to play it? Did you have the personnel to play it, or were they just better at playing man coverage? So everybody's basically saying the recruiting is the issue. And again, I'm not here to defend that because I don't disagree. Though I was called a hater when I was not so high on the recruiting class this year. So it is what it is. Vontae B, what's up? Panama says, I believe Mike Alford is putting all his chips in the center of the table for an ACC championship this year. Funny how Fuller gets more because Odell's the OG. Don't even bring that up, Brandon, because then you're going to get something else started. I'm not saying anything negative about Odell. I'm just saying Fuller, we got to address it. I understand we get upset for some reason about Adam Fuller. Maybe we don't like his recruiting, whatever. But damn, can you point to another defensive coordinator? Now, granted, I don't know how big the sample size is of guys that were as bad as we were year one to now. But is there another defensive coordinator that's had, again, 100s to 50s to top 15? Where they do that at? I don't know. I don't know where we do that at. But if Surtain becomes that recruiter on the defense, then we got to give Fuller credit. Remember, year one, we complained he didn't run many. That's my issue, Tyler, is nobody knows what they don't like about Fuller. We've just been conditioned from, maybe people like me early on and other talking heads. It's like we've been conditioned to go Fuller sucks. And there's nothing else to it. He just is garbage. But the goalpost has been moved for Fuller year in and year out. He's absolutely right. Year one, when he did blitz, we complained about ill-timed blitzes, which could be a negative, which could be a not, but you're not going to find a perfect coordinator anyway. We complained that we ran too much man because we were getting burnt in year one. And year two, he switches it up. Year three, he switches it up again. They trying to do it. I'm not going to do it. But somebody just said Odell needs to retire. He says Fuller is just mayonnaise and bread. Basically trying to say Fuller is basic. What I don't know. Maybe they want some exotic blitz packages. Like, I don't even know, bro. Here we go with the scheme's basic. I don't know. I mean, if you feel that way, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Rock says, does Adam Fuller even recruit? I'm sure he's responsible for some recruits. Adam Fuller seems to have a better pulse on which is this coaching staff as a whole. They really seem to have a better pulse on the transfer portal. It's weird. I don't necessarily know why, but I think Fentrell Cypress, he gave a lot of credit to Adam Fuller. I don't know if y'all care because he's not a high school kid, right? So we don't look at Cypress as, I guess, a recruiting win. And again, I'm not really here to make excuses for Adam Fuller on the recruiting trail because I agree with y'all on the recruiting aspect, right? I do agree with y'all on that point. But we just don't give him credit for like the transfer portal guys. And that seems to be where he just resonates more. What's up, Jeff? Reading some comments. Let me see which one I'm gonna throw up here. No Power says last year we can literally see the players started to buy into the system. Year one, they were doubting because of Taggart. Well, year one, I kind of went over this last Wednesday, and just the amount of roster transition we went over in years one and two. Again, 50 players or over 50 players exited the program. And through the portal, they only brought in 30, 25 to 30, however you look at it. 30 is the wrong number. My opinion is more so 25 because some of those guys they brought in also hit the portal. So he started to blitz more, especially from secondary, but it didn't work all the time. I think we just got to give it time, man. I don't know. I don't know what scheme you want him to run. We running a 4-2. He talked this offseason about potentially going with some 5 down linemen, which is an interesting look. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not sitting here telling you that you got the best defensive coordinator in the ACC. But hell, look. Let's keep it up. Let's keep it 100, right? Miami had Kevin Steele last year, a big name, but what was his product on the field? And you can say, well, Bama wanted Kevin Steele. Nick Saban hired Steele because he's familiar with Steele. He has a relationship with Steele. Steele, he doesn't have to bring Steele on and teach him or anything. Steele's going to fall in line because Steele knows what to do when he gets there. I don't know, when people say Fuller isn't being poached or being pursued by any other program, my question is, what other programs does Adam Fuller have relationships with? I think that's why. Coaching is way more about who you know than what you know. A lot of these guys get jobs over and over and over, not because they're necessarily good coaches. Again, Kevin Steele was a good coach 10 years ago, maybe. In 2023, there's better defensive coordinators than Kevin Steele, but he knows people. He has a reputation. He's a name, so he can get jobs. That's the bulk of coaching in today's game. It ain't what you know, it's who you know. You can make the argument that just Adam Fuller don't have the connections, and if you look at his resume, it kind of shows that. I don't know why Miami fans are capping for Steele all of a sudden, like they didn't watch the games. Man, because anytime Bama hires a guy, it must mean that coach was amazing. Do I know the areas he recruits? Good question. Off the top of my head, I do not. My guess is he doesn't have a specific area. It would be my guess. Because he's a coordinator, my guess was he would just fall wherever he kind of feels needed. I know he coaches DBs or the safety position, basically. But I don't know, like, I couldn't tell you, like, his geographic, like, responsibilities. The guy that got the 40 bombed by Middle Tennessee and got counter ran on 30 times. Duke also put 45. Pitt put 45. Yeah, that guy. And it's crazy to me because if Fuller was doing that, if Fuller was getting put 45 up by, yeah, but that just goes to the point that I'm trying to make. We talk about Fuller and the fact that against good offenses, we had some struggles. Go figure. Against a good team, you might have some struggle. So we talked about that, right? But against teams like Duke and Middle, now we didn't play Duke, but we played a team like equivalent to Middle Tennessee. The point I'm making is we didn't give up 45 points to some random team from Tennessee. And we played Louisiana this year. They didn't throw 45 on us. Like, if that happened, you could, and I would argue top to bottom, let's keep it a buck. Miami's talent compared to our defensive talent compared to ours. Now I like our D line better, and I like our D line, and I like probably our linebackers better than Miami's, if I'm being honest. But they still got, the Leonard Taylor's 5-star, the James Wilson. I like their secondary better than ours from top to bottom. Those guys didn't play like it outside of Cam Kitchens. But if we just looking at the stars and the rankings, Miami had guys on that team for whatever reason didn't perform up to the expectations they had. Whether that's coaching or what, I don't know. Will our AD coming out and slamming the ACC for lack of money we're getting from the ACC looks like this could be headed. So that's the topic I'm gonna touch on tomorrow night, Josh. So you just keep that conversation in your pocket. Don't worry, I'm gonna touch on that. I don't want to touch on that tonight because I want to actually have something to talk about tomorrow. Tonight we're just gonna focus on Alex Atkins getting this money. Who we spent a lot of time on Fuller, so we're probably going to transition to Atkins here after I get through with these comments. But I really want to address the Fuller hate. Fuller recruits Tampa and Southwest Florida. Okay, see, I didn't know that, but appreciate that cool breeze. I really don't know why some would complain about a contract extension for some of these guys. Did y'all really want massive staff turnovers? Of course we don't. We've seen that. You're watching it at the other two program. He says, I'm going to be perfectly honest. There's no defense that's that damn dominant anymore. Team score, this ain't the 90s anymore. I think to be a good defense, keep teams under 30. I don't think you're wrong. I really don't. I'll tell you right now, like he said, if in today's game, if you can hold a team to 25 points, there's a good chance you can win that ball game. There's a good chance you can win ball games. That's a fact. I would argue anywhere from 30 to 31 points is middle of the pack offense. Appreciate you, Jeff, for that one.
My name is Jeff.
Dang mob in the building. Jeff is the man. Donates here. Jeff is a good dude, man. Yes, he is. Jeff is my guy. Question: do you think anybody poached our DA? Who? What DA? Our DA. Oh, our AD, our athletic director. That's not really a job that gets poached. If Alfred was to leave Florida State, it'd be for like a spot on the NCAA. Like he would leave Florida. He would leave this job for like a conference president job, like the ACC commissioner type job or something like that. The Big Ten commission, like he would leave for something like that. That's not really a job that like you see a lot of lateral moves. So no, I don't think so. No, I don't. Right, something like that. Like the NFL will come calling him and give him like an NFL general manager job. That would be something that Alfred would look at. Not like, oh, Bama needs a new AD. They're gonna call up Mike Alfred. I wouldn't worry about something like that. Right. Not a lateral job, like people are saying in the chat. NFL general manager, a conference president, something like that. A spot on like the NCAA committee board, something where he's in the position to make big decisions is where Alfred will go from here. Something like that. So wholeheartedly agree. So let's move to Atkins, man. So we just talked about Fuller, and look, I get it, guys. Fuller's not the sexy defensive coordinator. I'm not going to pretend like he is. I just want us to give him a chance because I don't feel like we're giving him a legit chance. Give him a chance. I tell you what, when you got Fentrell Cypress on defense, you've got Fisk and Lovett and Verse and Pat Payton and Darrell Jackson and Gilbert Edmond on that defensive line. You got all these guys on defense. If that defense is not good this year, we can revisit the Adam Fuller thing. I'll be right there with y'all. But let's give them this. Let's give them 2023. And with that said, man, Atkins. Is there anybody more deserving than that damn Alex Atkins? But forget the extension. Forget the extension. What about the fact that the LA Rams flew him out? Now, either one or two things happened here. He either just interviewed and didn't get the job, or he turned the job down. It wasn't specified whether he just didn't get the job or whether he turned the job down. I'm going to lie and tell y'all, in my opinion, he turned the job down. I don't know that, but I'm going to sit here and tell bold-faced lie. I think he turned the job down. So, as far as I'm concerned, Atkins is turning down NFL caliber jobs. You can't tell me anything about Alex Atkins. And then on top of that, Florida State decides, okay, you're getting that type of attention. That's 1.3 you. Now, I don't know what the going rate for the offensive coordinator here is in college football, but I got to think 1.3 is putting him in the top, in the upper echelon of offensive coordinators. What do you guys think? Sporadic says he finally has personnel on D. I think so too. That's why I said if the defense is having, again, I don't think the defense played bad last year, but if you want to make the case that in certain games we gave up points, okay, fine, it happens. The defense isn't good in big time games next year, we can revisit it. The Rams and the Chargers. Okay. So both LA teams. I didn't know that. I thought it was just the Rams. And Sporadic says, no, you're 100% correct. He turned it down. There you go. Again, I'm just light-skinned dude on YouTube. I don't know nothing, but Sporadic knows people. So he says he turned it down. He turned it down. I'm going to lie to you regardless and tell you he turned it down. I don't care. And Tyler says, well, we raised his pay that much for a reason. Facts. And Island Boy says he thinks he turned him down too. What does that say? For one, I think, and I can't speak for Atkins, obviously. I think Atkins, to me, seems like, I feel like Atkins enjoys the college game as of right now. And I know a lot of coaches don't. Like, I know Dan Mullen, and with the NIL and the way recruiting has evolved, I think a lot of coaches are starting to not like the college game because of the extra baggage that comes with it. Treating a 17-year-old like he's God's gift to football just to get him to sign a piece of paper saying he's coming to your school, for a lot of coaches is starting to become a big turnoff, right? Atkins, to me, because of his recruiting style, is one of the reasons why I actually think I appreciate Atkins and the way he recruits. I think he does himself a disservice because he's too real, but I love it. I much more respect the way he goes about it. But the reason I say he does himself a disservice is because, let's face it, he's telling kids. He's telling kids what they don't want to hear. And not everybody's receptive to what they don't want to hear. A lot of us, a lot of y'all in the chat, a lot of people claim they like it, they want it real. They want someone to be 100. Most of the time, you don't want anybody to be 100 with you. You want people to tell you what you want to hear. And when they do be 100 with you, it puts you off. You feel some type of way. Or, okay, you was honest, man, but you could have said it different. Like, when you hear all that, oh, yeah, you might have told me that, man, but you could have been. No. And Atkins, you've heard the countless recruiting stories of Atkins to tell you, bro, you trash. You trash. You trash. Right. That's how you lost Kearney. Absolutely. And that's why I say he does himself a disservice, but I respect the way he does it. And I think a special type of kids respect the way he does it as well. So the reason I am such a huge supporter of Atkins, because I know the kids that he recruits, even if he's doing himself a disservice, even if the 5-star all-world left tackle doesn't respond to Atkins' recruiting style, like a DJ, like a Chester. I think you talk about Kearney. I think that's another thing that threw Chester off at Florida State. Chester even said, "Is like, this man barely calls me. And the times I've had talked to him, he points out all the problems in my game." For some players, bro, why I want to play? I can't. You, the way you talking to me makes it seem like I suck. I get it. Atkins may not ever sign that 5-star guy, just because of the way he comes off. But I'm telling you, the guys he does sign, they're going to be able to take coaching, criticism, and you're going to get the most out of them. You're going to get the most out of them. They're the type of guys you want on that offensive line, in my opinion. I think Atkins fits college. I think he enjoys college, and I think he enjoys it. And again, I don't know the man. I'm just speaking from what I see on the outside. I think he enjoys it because he doesn't play the games. He doesn't play the. And now, don't get me wrong. He's going to have fun with recruits. He's not all mean. Of course, he's going to, I think his personality resonates with kids. And I think his demeanor, that caring, that father figure type demeanor, definitely resonates with kids. I just think he does himself a disservice, that he can be just 100% too real sometimes. Like Dave Chappelle says, when keeping it real goes wrong. Except with Atkins, I think it goes right. And I just think that style helps him at college. And I think he enjoys college more because he doesn't do all the stupid bells and whistles that you have to do. Like in my opinion, bro, if it was Alex Atkins' call, Florida State never makes that stupid happy birthday video for Cromartie McClain. And I'm not jumping down Mike's neck, but that was wholeheartedly a Mike Norvell call or whoever. If that was Atkins, I guarantee you he'd be like, bro, we're not doing that. I'm going to have fun. I'm a recruit, but I'm not doing the stupid stuff, right? And that's what some of these kids want, though. Some of these kids want that extra attention. And sometimes it weeds out the kids, the young men that maybe you want or don't want. I just respect the man's style and the way he coaches and the way he goes about it personally. He's still recruiting at a high clip. He keeps it 100. Outside of LSU and Clemson, nobody should score more than 24 points in any game. We play in 2023. Given this schedule, we on paper should go 11-1, 10-2 at worst, with a ceiling of 12-0. Atkins is the closer. I think his real recruiting style locks people up. Perspective says, I'm 100% on POLK. He's 100% what you're saying he is. And that was an FSU admin call and a GM call. Atkins is like me. He enjoys his cigar session. I agree with that. Now, we know he loves his cigars. But that's just the vibe I've gotten from Atkins. And I think that's why he's a breath of fresh air on the recruiting circuit. I really believe that. And I think that's why he's recruited at the way he's recruited. Now, he does himself a disservice, but he's so good, he kind of makes up for it. And that's fine. That's fine because, it's a different type of kid nowadays. And, some of these kids, man, they want to be pampered and they want to be treated like God's gift of football. And some of them, maybe not so much. Happy birthday video was FSU's admins and the GM. Okay. Okay. Got you. Yeah. We should have said no. We just should have said no. If that's the case, bro, Mike should have said no. Not too many people in that building have more power than Mike Norvell as the head football coach at Florida State University, or at least they shouldn't have more power. Outside of Alford, Mike shouldn't answer really to anybody in that building, if we're being honest. And me personally, I would have said no. Like, I don't know, bro. There's just some things. I get it. Like personally, I didn't have a problem with who else did they do the happy birthday thing for? They did a happy birthday thing for Reuben Bain's mom at dinner. I don't have a problem with that. You know why? Because that was in person. That was in person with the family. No issue with that. But the video thing, whack. Shouldn't have did it. That's what I'm saying. That's I guess that's what I'm saying in a nutshell. All that stuff I said is basically what you just. He's getting, because of his style, the kids that you get are going to be coachable. They're going to be, like you said, not everybody can take. When you're trying to build somebody, coach somebody up, it can be difficult if you've never had to do it or been in that situation, because there's so many different personalities and not everybody, you can't just have necessarily one style. Not everybody can be yelled at. Not everybody responds to that. But you can't coddle everybody either, because then people think you're soft. So you have to be multiple in your coaching style. But I think the kids that commit to Atkins, they're not scared of criticism. They're not scared of, this guy might yell at me and hurt my feelings. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with kids that don't like to be coached like that. Again, because everybody's different and everybody responds different. But to go to your point, you're going to get a dog. That doesn't necessarily, and dog is all about mentality, not necessarily about talent. Just the mentality of, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to be outworked. I'm not going to be outmuscled. That's the difference, right? Is Patrick Surtain going to handle the whole defensive backfield? I think he's still doing. I still Fuller's still doing safeties. I think, but don't quote me on it, because I don't know. I do not know at all. My guess would be he's only doing corners, but I don't know. I'm thinking Duke a good job at safety because he can see the whole field. I see what's in front of him, but we are going to see. So FSU, man, they really decided to drop, $2 million on the coordinator position. I mean, that's, again, if you're a Florida State fan, the commitment to football should be exciting. In the last week, your athletic director has made a statement to the NCAA, which, again, we will talk about this tomorrow, that not the NCAA, I'm sorry, but the ACC. He's made a statement to the ACC. We are no longer going to just sit idly by while we carry the load on our back for this conference and everybody get paid the same amount of money. It is not just that. It's the fact that you are falling behind, light years behind the SEC and the Big Ten, to the point where not only are we not making the same money, we can't even compete. And now he's also telling you we're committed to these coaches, and while we all fear the day we get that announcement that Atkins will indeed move on, which, again, I still think eventually will happen. I mean, the guy's projection is too great that he's going to stay Florida State's offensive coordinator, for 10 years, right? Alford's not making that easy. He's not making that decision any easier for Atkins, which is what you want. While I think it eventually happens, hell, could be as soon as next year. I think we got him for this year. But if a team really wants him, they'll pay that little. I mean, he's 1.3. If a team really wants Atkins, they're going to be paying him as a first-time head coach probably $4 or $5 million anyway. So if a team really wants him, they're going to pay him. But with the raise and other things, it makes it tougher for a team to lowball. Team can't lowball him now. So now you're gonna have to actually pay real money to get him. Whereas maybe, and I know Georgia tried before and they didn't get him, but I'm just gonna use Georgia as an example. Maybe Georgia could have offered him $2 million to be their offensive coordinator. And that might not have to be, that won't be the case now. And I just used him as an example. I know he already turned Georgia down before. Why the hell would look? I know we did something in the transfer portal with tight ends, but let's not get ahead of ourselves with the Chris Thompson talk, guys. Like, come on. let's not get ridiculous now. Yeah. I think we all wish that there was at least, who is half the recruiter that like Atkins is? Seriously. Again, if you're not Atkins or Dugans, there's a lot to be desired maybe across the board with recruiting, if we're being honest. So this may be a long shot, but it would be such a great idea for the corners to be in contact with Pat Jr. Pat Jr. an example of a lockdown corner. I don't think it's a long shot. And I know Pat went to Bama. But hell, his dad's here. I don't know if that's a long shot. Now, Pat also might spend his offseason training in Denver. These guys go to like places like LA. So, but I don't think it's a long shot to try to get Junior on campus. It happens, it happens. With another 10 wins or better this year, we will dominate recruiting. Top 5 classes are coming. I still think David Johnson, Chris T is dead weight in recruiting. When Atkins does leave, I guarantee Mike Norvell is a great offensive line coach will replace him. I'm saying I think that's the warning shot to Chris. Did the same thing with Dugans and he stepped up. Okay. That's what yeah. Maybe it is a warning shot. I think honestly, again, I said this. I think Mike values Chris Thompson. I just think that maybe you can get this, whatever he brings to the table. I think you can get that in an off-field role, and you can put somebody else there that can recruit better. That's just my opinion there. Yeah, man, Dugans did come a long way. That's true too. Again, he went to the transfer portal. But we're deep at tight end. I went from being the worst room, or at least a room that is just like a room full of projects, to now Bell, Morlock, Marcus Douglas. Brian Courtney and Jabril Powers are still in that room. Jackson West somehow is still on this team. I was for sure that Jackson West was going to hit the portal at some point, and he might still do. He might still. But bro, I just named what was that? 6 tight ends. Right? Jaheim, Morlock, Douglas, Courtney, Power. Yeah, 6 tight ends. They 6 tight ends deep. That's 6 scholarship tight ends, by the way. That's not counting like a BJ Daniels, who's a walk-on. I think Wyatt Rector's gone, so I don't think you can count him. I think Wyatt Rector's gone. They got bodies, man. And so, again, to the point, man, Florida State's making moves. And this has been a great offseason for Florida State and its fans. And again, I'm not saying that you need to, you don't have to say all gumdrops and lollipops is raining in Tallahassee. But what is there really to be critical about? Again, as of March 1st, 2023. This offseason went about as good as an offseason can go if you're Florida State. Compared to the last 2 off seasons, compared to Marius Mims debacle and the Travis Hunter stuff and the amount of transfer portal guys that were hitting the field every off season, like, what are you worried about? if you just not sitting back and vibing this offseason, I question. I just question how much a fan you really are. Or what do you want? What do you want to see? What do you want to see? I think Thompson does a lot with working with the O line as well. He did come here having been an O line coach. That's true. That's true. Only thing left is off field staff. Speaking of off field staff, Antonio Cromartie is no longer on the A&M staff, according to his own tweets. I'll be interested to see if we can figure that one out. If we can still get Crow over here, I would love it. I would love it. But yeah, we just again, this offseason has been mwah. I don't know. I don't know what else to say, man. The only way I see Thompson getting retained is if he land that 5-star Landon Thomas. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same thing we said about Dugans, right? It's like, if Dugans gets Hakeem, there's no way I'm going to call for his job, man. He got him, and he kept him. But I think with the Landon kid, it's going to go to, he's going to watch and see, well, how effective is Jaheim Bell in this offense? Because look, no knock on Cam McDonald, who I'm just glad Cam McDonald, no-blooded, stayed here the whole time, came under Willie, but never left, bought in, all that stuff. But man, Cam left a lot to be desired at that position. So we're just being honest. We haven't had the best tight ends. Now all of a sudden we do, or we think we do. I think Landon's going to be looking to see how good are. How many yards did Jaheim Bell get? How did they use Kyle Morlock? Things like that. I think that's what he's going to be looking at. What's up, Chad? This is a great offseason. Think about it. When was the last time you seen the Florida State player get in trouble? I mean, we haven't seen a Florida State player get in trouble. Even when we weren't winning, it's not like guys were getting in off-field trouble. That's for sure. So that's a good point. Guys don't get in trouble. But again, I just talking about the stuff that you can't control, right? Because I can't control if a kid goes out tonight and does something silly, right? Those are wild card situations. People do things. But the things that Florida State has been able to control, paying coaches, retaining players, the right hires, all of that stuff, they've completely taken care of business this offseason. There's been no nonsense. And you can really see it with the fan bases because your boys, both rivals are mad. They trying to spin it any way they can spin it. Is that, well, Florida State ain't had no coaching turnover because nobody's interested in that staff and y'all ain't got no good coaches. Apparently, we at least got one coach that NFL team was looking at. But you can, those rival schools are going through it right now with the coaching turnover. Both rival schools had I think like at least 20 guys hit the transfer portal. What did Florida State have? A handful of guys, 10 or so hit the portal this offseason. It's just, we ain't the same. We had two different parts of the process, and you can see it during this offseason. We had two different parts of the process. Do you think Dugans just figured some things out with Hakeem recruitment? He's cooking all of a sudden. I think it's what people said before. You got to remember, man, Dugans came the year before Mike. So Willie wanted Dugans initially, didn't get him Willie's first year. Then Manny takes over at Miami. He doesn't retain Dugans. Dugans comes home. Well, unfortunately for Ron Dugans, Willie is canned into year 2, halfway through. So any type of real recruiting you were gonna have, you just cut that off. You just cut that off. And then you couldn't build off of anything because the next year, Mike Norvell's first year, COVID. I really think, again, when you just go in hindsight and really take your emotions out of things, Dugan's just never had the opportunity to really get his hands into some of these guys, And ultimately, man, I think that's just what happened. And this, with last year and this year kind of being the real first normal years after COVID, I think that's why you seeing that. And again, Jordan Travis playing exceptionally well this year obviously doesn't hurt either, because we can say what we want about Ron Dugan's recruiting. It's hard to recruit a receiver when Mackenzie Milton is playing the way he played. And Jordan Travis is getting pulled every other game, and some of the games he was in didn't look that great himself. When your quarterback play is atrocious, which it pretty much was the first years Dugans was there. I mean, you had, hell, who do we have? Blackman and Hornibrook when Dugans first got to Florida State. And then in year 2, COVID year, we're starting Blackman. He plays a game. Then we go to Tate Rodemaker. He almost loses to Jacksonville State that game. Then we go to Travis. He kind of finishes out the season. And then the next year, we're flip-flopping between Milton. When quarterback position gets stable, all of a sudden receivers want to come play for your team. Newsflash, who the hell would have thought that quarterback and receivers somehow coincided with each other? Crazy thought. Cromartie would be super home run if we could figure that one out. Agreed. With Miami being hit with the NCAA violations for cheating with this NIL, this is our time to take control of the state of Florida. I forgot about that. With the basketball. I forgot about that. Such a joke. That school's such a joke. All the coaches who left became either a coordinator or head coach. We have a coach that now understands that process is getting FSU back to the top of the ACC. And he's doing it the right way. Now all eyes on Florida State, and the Sugar Canes and Gators are mad. You see, yes, I did. Luke, and it's on 3 rankings, but on 3's got Luke basically damn near, I think he's number 59 overall. So he's damn near a top 50 player in on 3. Tony Tarkar is working with Jordan Travis improved his overall core. I don't disagree. I've been very high on Tony. I have been very high on Tony, so I don't disagree. No, and Tyler says, I think Crow is ours if we want him. This is personally gel with Mike. That's the question I don't know. Like you said, if we want him, I think Crow would come home. Do those guys have any type of relationship? My guess would be no. But that doesn't mean they can't form one. I think Mike has a pulse of this program. I think he knows if he was to bring Crow on, he'd get a lot of fan points. But if you're Mike Norvell, I think you got to reach out to someone. I mean, Odell has been the one guy who's you talk about bringing in former players. Well, Odell's the guy who's been on the coaching staff with all the. So he's coached these former. Odell's coached Antonio Cromartie, or at least been, maybe not coached him directly. Obviously, he's not a DB coach, but Odell's been on the defense of coaching staff. When Cromartie was a player. So if there's somebody you want to go to for a reference, Odell's the guy. Odell would be the guy. I'm telling you, he's going to be a borderline 5-star by season's end. I'm with you. I think Luke is the good. And we did a good job of getting on him early. And we just got to hold on to him. I haven't quite gotten into the 2024 recruiting. Just because I want to wait till after spring to really get into that. I hate talking about these dudes this early because we see it every single year. Like this time last year, Cedric Baxter was committed to us. You know what I'm saying? So I hate it because anything can happen. And sometimes it might not even be anything that Florida State's doing wrong. Look at the way our offense looked last year, and we still couldn't find a way to get Baxter on board. So I just reserve myself when talking about recruiting this early. Margaret says, this is an amazing feeling. God is good. God is good. Yeah, man, we're in a place that we haven't been, and it feels good. And again, if you're a Florida State fan, you should be feeling warm and fuzzy. Because the only thing that can kill this vibe is and let me knock on, I don't have any wood here, but let me knock on something. It's like if a major injury happened in the spring. But this is what I talked about earlier during lunch. It's like, if I'm Mike Norvell and company, there's a good handful of guys that I don't need you to touch the field this spring, right? I don't need Fabian Lovett to play this spring. Get healthy. I don't need Robert Scott to play this spring. Stay healthy. Jordan Travis can play a little bit just because he's the quarterback and that position is protected in the spring. So I'm not too worried about Jordan Travis. But, there's just Fisk is coming off of an injury. I would argue, I know he hasn't played with this group of defensive linemen, but D-line isn't quite off. It's not offensive line. There's not a lot of Fisk. If he goes in there and does his job, he'll be fine. I'm not saying there's no cohesion that needs to happen, but if he goes in there and does his job, D-line will be fine. I would have a snap count for Fisk. I think you want to play him because I think he's out of the brace. So you do want him to get some work with it. You want him to get some strength. You want him to get back used to pushing bodies and having some strain on it. And so with a guy like Fisk, I think you count his snaps. But there's a handful of guys. Verse, did I say Coop? But I meant Fabian Lovett. If I said Coop, yeah, that's my mistake. Fabo doesn't need to see the field. That's my fault. Verse, I would snap count. Snap count. I play Verse a little bit because I want Verse to get some work. Not even necessarily for Verse, but I want guys like Julian Armella and Jalen Early and these young offensive tackles. I want them to get work against the best. And if Verse is considered the best coming back to college football, I want my young guys getting work against him. But I would still have him on a snap count. But I would let my young guys get work. But there's a handful of guys that they simply wouldn't see the field, or they would be on a limited count. They would not play a lot in the spring because some of these guys don't need it. Jeff with another donation, man. My man says, it's looking good. We got our athletic director that has our back. Our coordinators are getting paid. We're probably leaving this sorry conference in the future. Let's all continue to pray that happens. Everything looking good for Florida State.
Clickety clank, clickety clank. The money goes into my piggy bank.
Development is the next man up is the key. For that just in case moment, got to continue to develop. Only injury I've heard about is Knowles. What is the injury on Knowles? I'm not even aware of that, I'll be honest with you. Claude the Mogger says, man, that is all up to strength coaches. Get them stronger and resilient as possible. It's tough, though, with all the different morphologies. It's also up to the players to do extra mobility work. Okay. Don't disagree. Everybody's different. You're right. Strength and conditioning is key to injuries and all of that. That still doesn't change my perspective, though, right? I still, there's certain guys I just wouldn't play because like always, like you can have the best strength and conditioning ever, but freak accidents do happen. Like ankles get rolled up on, like just stuff happens. So yeah, some guys I just wouldn't play. I just heard he's out for the spring per Sonone. It's Akeem. He got Akeem broke his foot in the bowl game. Early in that bowl game, he actually walked right past where I was sitting. Um, um, so he might still be recovering from that, but Keem broke that foot in December. I saw that one live. My guess if he is still hurt, it would make sense. It's only, he broke it in December, January, February, we're in March now. So, probably. I'm curious of what Knowles' injury is. But if he's out for the spring, that means they're going to have to play somebody at that nickel, whether that's AZ or Jarian or somebody like that. Duke Cooper to safety is interesting. Hope Eric's out for added depth at the safety. And Margaret says probably that shoulder, talking about Knowles, I think is who he's talking about. Duke is interesting. Again, I'm not so sold on the Duke move, but it could be worse, right? Having Knowles hurt is a kind of a blow to that secondary because how many early enrollees do we have that are freshman DBs? Because I know Conrad Hussey did an early enrollee just because he went to St. Thomas and they can't. I don't think Edwin Joseph is an early enrollee. I think Kirkland is. I think Montre says none. I think Kirkland's on campus. I could be wrong. I'd have to look it up. Let me see. Hold on. Let me stop guessing here and look it up real quick. I can find it. I can tell you exactly who's an early enrollee. Give me a minute. 24, 22. Nope, not this one. So your enrollees, Kirkland early enrolled, Quindarius Jones early enrolled. So those are your only two DBs that early enrolled. Hussey did not, Joseph did not, Jabril Rawls did not. Then of course you brought in Cypress, who's there. So those two freshmen, might be put in position. Both of them are big kids. And Kirkland's listed at 6'1.5", 187. Jones listed at 6'2", 187. So they're both big, long DBs. I think Kirkland's the guy they like at corner. I think Jones is the guy they like at corner as well. Though they might see Kirkland played more safety in high school, but we'll see, man. So they do have two early enrollees from high school, Kirkland and Jones. And with Knowles being hurt, that means somebody's going to get that opportunity to play. In that secondary. So that's interesting. That's something interesting to watch. I didn't know Kevin Knowles was hurt. That sucks for him, but that's a plus for somebody else looking for that opportunity. It definitely is. And that nickel spot that's the interesting spot because I think if Edwin Joseph had early enrolled, I think that would be the guy there. But he did not. And man, I think that's I'm thinking in my head like that nickel spot becomes interesting. Because do they put AZ at nickel? I think a lot of that's just going to depend on how well AZ plays in year 2. Because as far as I'm concerned, you could move. You could throw Ronaldo Green in there to that nickel spot. And if AZ and Cypress on the outside, I mean, that might be ideal. Now, I've been on the record. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Ronaldo Green played his best ball. And I was happy that they didn't end up moving him to safety, which I was kind of worried about. But I wouldn't be against them moving him to nickel, though. Would not be against them doing that. Just because you can blitz him from that spot. Ronaldo Green was one of your better tacklers at the position. If AZ can take that next step, man, instead of playing AZ at the nickel, I would play Ronaldo Green there. But it's just all going to be up to very interesting. With the nose injury, man, that nickel spot becomes a very interesting position to watch in this offseason for sure. That nickel position becomes a very interesting spot with the nose injury. So, man, something to watch, y'all. Something to y'all watch. What's up, Jalen? How you been? Been real busy with football, but I have a question. You think if we get Jaheim Singletary, he'll play that nickel? I don't think we get Florida State. Absolutely, you got to watch out for Greedy. No, you absolutely got to watch out for. I'm not. Greedy's there. Absolutely, I'm not saying Greedy's not there, but they rotate the nickel. It's a battle. I'll say that. But back to you, Jalen. If you look at what Florida State does in the portal, when they want a guy, if they wanted Jaheim and Jaheim wanted to be here, I'm not just going to be like, if Florida State wanted him, they got him. But if Singletary had real interested in Florida State and Florida State wanted him, he would already be here, in my opinion. FSU doesn't let guys sit in the portal for months on end. When FSU wanted Gilbert Edmond, they went out and they got him. And that's the same for Fentrell Cypress. When his name surfaced, it didn't take long. It didn't take long for Fisk. It didn't take long for none. FSU didn't spend months recruiting these portal guys. Byers, none of these guys. When it came down that, Florida State's interested in these guys, within the next 2 weeks at the most, they were announcing commitments. Singletary has been in the portal now since when? When he hit? January or something like that? If Florida State wanted him, I think he'd be here already. I don't know where Singletary's trying to go. I don't think it's Florida State. I don't think it's Florida State. That's just me. Nope. Keep Green where he at. I get it. Again, I've said that myself. Keep Ronaldo where he at, but I really think he fits the nickel. But someone has to take that step. Don't move Green for the sake of moving Green. But if you got somebody that can fill that spot, I think Green would be great. I don't think that's a demotion for Ronaldo Green, especially in today's football, when every school is running 4 or 5 wide almost every play anyway. You need 5, 6 DBs on the field at a time. So I don't think that's a demotion for Ronaldo Green. You can't sacrifice the outside for that. If AZ or hell, Jerry and Jones for that matter, or one of them guys can really take Ronaldo's spot, I think you move Ronaldo inside and let him and Greedy Vance rotate. Because Greedy Vance was really good at nickel. And I think that's a good rotation, him and Vance. Or whoever. And Vance is going to be in the mix, though. I don't want to pretend like I'm just dismissing Greedy Vance. I'm not. I'm just saying that there's going to be a rotation there, whether that's Greedy. And Greedy and Ronaldo bring 2 different skill sets to the nickel. I think they would actually complement each other very well because Ronaldo's physical, where Greedy's more your coverage guy. And that's not to say Greedy can't be physical, and that's not to say Ronaldo can't cover, but you get what I'm saying. AZ about to learn a lot from Cypress? Absolutely. Green skill set really fits the nickel role. I think so too. I really do. That's why I said that. I just think you got to have somebody to take that spot. Keep AZ where he is, which is on the outside. But there's talks about him moving inside, though. So we'll see. Jarian could back him up. I don't know if I like Jarian. And then, man, I don't like to come off as a Jarian hater. I really don't. But if I had to put Jarian anywhere, I'm putting him on the outside. I don't know if I don't like Jarian on the inside. And I could be wrong. But from what I've seen from Jerry in the last 3 years, I'll keep him on the outside. I think the way Singletary at safety, and he doesn't. I think they want Singletary at safety, and he doesn't want to play here. I don't think he wants to be here either. And again, if he wanted to be here, and Florida State wanted him, he'd be here already because Florida State doesn't play that game in the portal where you sit in the portal for 2 months. And it makes sense that they would want him at safety. They need safeties. That was where I said he would end up from the jump. I don't know if he ends up there, but that is where I said Singletary would end up from the beginning because of who their DB coach is and the relationship that guy would already have with Singletary. Basically, I said Singletary would be in Miami from the beginning, so it would not shock me. There's been some red flags with Singletary. No way he hasn't landed nowhere by now. Agreed. There's got to be something to that. I don't disagree. There's got to be something with that. Again, guys don't sit in the portal that long for a reason. Usually, when a high-profile player goes in the portal and he's in there this long, something's up with that. Don't know. It doesn't necessarily have to be like – it could be a grade thing. Hell, it doesn't have to be something like he's a bad dude or anything like that. But a guy like that doesn't sit in the portal this long, if not for a reason. If you could get one back, who would you take? Malik or Trayshawn? That's a great question, bro. That is a great question because most people would say Trayshawn off rip. But again, this is not a knock on Trayshawn. Y'all know I was the biggest Trayshawn Ward defender out there. So this is not a knock on Trayshawn Ward. It's just the position. I feel like he can be duplicated. I honestly do. And y'all know I got a soft spot for Malik. But I think I'm with Panama on this one. We got a stable of backs that I think Trayshawn's productivity can be duplicated, if not, whereas, I got a soft spot for Malik. I got a soft spot for both of those guys, really. But come on, 6'5", 6'4", 6'5", whatever Malik McClain was. I really just wish he could have put it together, if I'm being honest with you. I really do. But he's at Penn State, so it's not like he downgraded. So he went to another good program. Maybe not by the guys who started, but again, Trayshawn Ward was great against Oklahoma. I'm not knocking Trayshawn. I just think I don't know if there's a wrong answer here. I see a lot of people saying Trayshawn, and again, I'm with y'all, but I just think this year I don't know. That's a lot to ask from Hill or Holmes. Malik can be replicated. That's the only thing. So here, let me point this comment out first, and then I'll go to what y'all saying because y'all are right? Y'all are right. But I want to Giuseppe appreciate you, bro. He says, "Love the show, Polk. Thank you." No, thank you. Thank you for showing love. But y'all are right. From a production standpoint. So from a number standpoint, y'all are not wrong. Malik, his production can be replicated. He didn't give you a lot of yards, a lot of touchdowns. Where Trayshawn Ward, what did Trayshawn Ward run for? Over 500 yards, if I'm not mistaken, Trayshawn. So you're absolutely right. Maybe I'm falling in. Maybe my thought process is just that running back room is plug and play. I mean, you saw Jashaun Corbin doing what did Jashaun Corbin run for? 800 some yards the year he went pro. Damian Webb, the 1 year we had him, showed great flashes. You feel me? I guess I'm just spoiled at the running back, thinking that we can just plug in guys and they're going to be successful. You know, but on the surface, y'all are right. Trayshawn Ward was way more productive than Malik McClain. Was way more. He gave you. He was more important in terms of wins and losses and all of that. That I can't debate any of that. I just think I just think that running back stuff maybe can be replicated, bro. And my wide receivers, man, they let me down every time. Every time I pick one that I like, they let me down. Starting with Warren, ever since I've been doing this YouTube thing, every time I pick a receiver, they completely let me down. Maybe I'm just not good at evaluating. I think I'm good at evaluating procedures. Like, you can't tell me Warren Thompson wasn't talented. And you can't tell me Malik wasn't talented. Maybe I'm just bad luck. And every time I pick a guy, they don't pan out. But I picked Warren Thompson to be great, and he let me down. Then he went to Arkansas and actually had some moments. He wasn't great at Arkansas, but he had moments. And I'm picking Malik and watch him go to Penn State and be way better, right? But no, y'all are right with Trayshawn Ward. I just got a soft spot for these receivers, man. And I kind of don't even want to pick a receiver this year because I feel like I'm going to pick one and I'm going to jinx them. I don't disagree. I can't disagree with that. Can't disagree with that either. The reason Singletary's still in the portal is because he can't go to a team until May anyway. Why is that? Why can't he go until May? Is there a reason? I'm just curious. Is there a reason that he can't go to a team until May? Keziah and Winston are my biggest sleepers. Chris says, what up, POLK Orlando on the check-in. Also, Trayshawn was dedicated and gave his heart, which is heart can't be duplicated. Williams can give 2 catches as a freshman this year with 18 yards. No, y'all ain't lying. Look, I got y'all. Y'all are right. Stop picking players. Well, hold on. Just my receiver takes have been off. But my receiver take, let's see, I was wrong about the receivers. I continue to be wrong about receivers, even though, again, y'all can't tell me Ja'Kai Douglas ain't that dude. But for some reason, I just jinxed these receivers. And I was wrong about Lloyd Willis. But I was right on the money when it came to Pat. And who else? There were some other guys that I got right too. Damn it. But when it came to Pat, I was right on the money. It's them receivers that are killing me. But I've been good on some of these other predictions. But the receiver takes has been off. Even though I was high on Johnny more than anybody else. I like the Johnny pick. Everybody was like, he can't catch. I was like, no, I like Johnny Wilson. So you can kind of give me credit for Johnny. But for the most part, my receivers have been off. Hot take. FSU is running back. UDB. FSU is special team. FSU is DU. How about that? Warren Thompson did nothing. Nowhere he went. He had some flashes at Arkansas. Don't do him like that. You've doomed Ja'Kai for another 4 catches, 100 years, and 2. Damn it. I'm sorry. Can't go wrong with Johnny Wilson. Other than Johnny, nobody was really productive at wide. Ontario had a good season. Ontario was a good compliment to Johnny. Nick says, what up, POLK? Do you think we lead? I do think we lead for Leicester. And we said it earlier at lunch. I think FSU. I think Leicester is FSU's to lose. My dog said hit the like. Please hit the like button. Please hit that like button. And subscribe if for whatever reason you're new around here and you like the way we do this. Please subscribe. Continue to share the videos. That's all I ask. Micah wasn't bad. Micah was solid. And do you see Johnny getting more or less yards this season? I say less. I don't want to say less. I think Johnny's going to have, I don't think Johnny's going to go for the 1,000 plus like people think. Because what I think is going to happen, one, teams are going to pay attention to that 6'7" guy. And two, I just think some other guys are going to finally kind of flourish into their own. Where, and I think Panama kind of alluded to it, right? It was Johnny at like 800 some odd yards, but then the next guy, I don't know, Ontario had what 300 or 400 yards. That's a big gap, 800 to 400. And then Pittman's around that 300 range, and I think what you could really get is Johnny still having around that same level. Maybe his touchdowns increase, but not necessarily yardage. But then you can get your second receiver to have maybe closer to 6. And then you have a receiver in the 5s. I think the wealth will be spread out more. I think more as more guys grow into their positions and get more comfortable, and as Jordan Travis gets more comfortable, as the O-line continues to get better, as his offense just continues to evolve, and the mismatches on the offense, the fact that you can't just key in on Johnny with Jaheim Bell. You can't just key on Jaheim Bell when you got potentially freshman Hakeem Williams, who looks like a Hakeem Williams is built like a senior right now, right? You can't just key on some of these other guys. Deuce Spann, who we don't even talk about at all, 6'4", 6'5" of him. He's got that vertical that we want him to have. All of a sudden, so many weapons offensively. I agree. I don't think Johnny goes for the big 1,000-yard season that maybe some people are predicting. But I don't think that's a negative in the sense. That doesn't mean you just get a wider array of 400 or 500-yard receivers. Chris Robinson with the $9.99, my man from Orlando, always checking in.
I'm in Tallahassee, I'm with the Seminoles. I've been getting to this paper, focus on my goals. Trying to run this money up and pull up in the road. All these talking gangster, that shit getting old.
At this state of time, over or under 2.5 stars. Great question. I'm going to say under, but that's because I think we can get 2. As of right now, I'm going to say 2. Micah has some ice in his veins. We could have been deep in our territory had it not been for him. We need Jeremiah Smith and JoJo Trader. That'll solidify this room for the future. When we Buckles played against Charles Lester, he didn't really do anything. I think you're going to have several guys there. That's basically what I'm alluding to. You get several guys in that range. It doesn't mean Johnny had a bad year. It just means we evolved as an offense and everybody else stepped their game up. So, yeah. You're right, Pope. How could I forget Pokey? Pokey Wilson game in New Orleans and against Miami. Would you say Micah is good at doing the dirt? Absolutely. I think Micah's good at that. I think that's where he makes his money. That's where he gets his credit. Johnny can get 1K if he has less drops. That's true, too. Johnny cleans up the drops. Definitely can still get 1K. That's absolutely true. Absolutely true, Vontae. And I agree too. I think you can do better than Micah as a receiver. But Micah as a punt returner, I mean, like Tyler said, didn't drop a punt. And how long has it been since we've just been able to field punts properly? So Micah does Micah does a little bit of it all. Yeah. A walk on to watch out for is my former teammate Donnie Hibbert. That guy is a literal Swiss Army knife. He's just like Pat Tillman and Brian Dawkins. Just watch out for him. Do you think Jordan Travis would throw for 4,000? Rock? I'm going to say no. If he throws for 4,000, I think you need you either need a couple 1,000-yard guys or you're going to need somebody to go for 15 plus. I don't see 4,000. But I could see 3,400 and 500 or 600 yards on the ground, maybe 40 total TDs and all running and like if he goes for 4,000, bro, Heisman for sure. Those numbers I was just talking, I think those numbers get him in the Heisman conversation. But 4,000, 4,000 yards. Let me just say 4,000 yards would put Jordan Travis in the GOAT conversation. I'll say that here now with that number you just threw out there. How many quarterbacks in Florida State history have thrown for 4,000 yards in a season? Didn't Jameis did it? Jameis did it, right? Did Winky throw for 4,000? I'm not so sure. I don't remember. 4,000 yards? JT's throwing for 4,000. How many games we losing, bro? I'm 4,000 yards. Y'all want to tell lies early. And I know you're just asking the question. I just think, and I know he threw for 3,200 this year, but 4,000, man. I don't know. Benson never fumbled this year, too. A team, we took care of the football, which is big. Yep. NC State haunts me to this day. I wonder how many drops. That's too damn many. That goes kind of to the 4,000 thing. If we don't get them drops, how many yards does JT throw for an NC State game? 4,000 isn't out of the realm of possibility, but man, oh man, we can do that. And I agree here. I think we run the ball way too much for 4,000. And it's not impossible though. But we're a running football team. We put up 45 points against Miami, and what did we throw the ball? 12 times? Jordan threw the ball 12 times in that game or something stupid like that. Look at that. Heisman winning Jameis only threw for 4,057. JT throwing for 4,000, bro, it's kind of insane. And I know the conversation about JT is where does he fall? Is like where does he fall in the Florida State quarterback conversation? Obviously, it's the big three, and then is JT in the conversation with the EJ Manuels, the Christian Ponders, the Danny Cannell? Sure, I'm not sure he's better than any of those guys I just named. Even though I would probably take Travis over EJ, but y'all kind of know how I feel about EJ. I think he's a little overrated. That's neither here nor there. He throws for 4,000. We arguably have a big four. And it's hard for me to see, look, Jordan Travis is going to run the ball. So if he's throwing for 4,000, he's going to at least run for another, at a minimum, J Travis running for at least 300 to 400. Just because he can break one at any time. He don't. All he got to do with 300 to 400 yards on the ground is what? 40 yards a game or something crazy like that. I mean, come on, Jordan Travis, bro. If he's throwing for 4,000, this is what I'll say. Last year, when y'all were saying some of the numbers, I didn't think Jordan Travis would reach him. I didn't think Jordan Travis would throw for 3,000 yards this past season. And he threw for 32. And I thought he would throw for around 27, 28. And I thought that was a good season for him. So I didn't foresee. Okay, Winky did throw for 4,000. Shout out to Winky. I didn't foresee him throwing that. So y'all could be right again this offseason. I just think if he's doing that, Heisman incoming, and then we're not losing very many games if Jordan Travis is throwing for 4,000, running for another 3 to 4. Like, you're talking about a guy with over 40, close to 4,500 yards of total offense. We're talking about a special season. I'll put it. I'll end it on that one. We'll talk. we're talking about a special season if Jordan Travis is putting up those type of numbers. And then we might have a big four conversation. Do I see him winning a national championship? That's a whole nother conversation, right? He's got to throw for that 4,000 if we talking that. Multiple guys got to be going off at receiver if we throw for 4,000. Maybe Jaheim Bell. I mean, look what Jameis did. Jameis threw for 4,000, and you had 3,000-yard receivers on that team. Kenny Shaw, Rashard Green, and Kelvin Benjamin all had over 1,000 yards. Oh, and by the way, Nick O'Leary added like another 500 yards to that, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. He won the Mackey Award. I mean, that's what you're going to need. You're going to need Johnny. You're going to need Jaheim Bell. You're going to need Portier or Williamson to step up. Micah Pittman, Winston Wright. Like, it's going to be a group effort for sure. Which I'm starting on my lies today. Yeah, I think so. You're gonna need to play in a playoff game and a conference game just to get that. The only reason why Jordan won't throw for 4,000 is because I think we have too many blowout games. And you know what's crazy? That's actually a crazy point, Rock. Which we all know this, but imagine how many yards actually Jameis could have threw for if he didn't sit out after the freaking first quarter sometimes. But by second half in almost every game in 2023, the bruh threw for, think about that. Jameis threw for 4,000 yards and sat out a majority of the second half in most games. If Jameis had played a full game, Jameis would have threw for 5,000 easy. Easy. He would have been putting up Big 12, Pac-12 numbers in the ACC. Easy. What did Jameis throw for his Heisman year? 4,000 yards and like 40 touchdowns? Oh, man. He would have shattered records. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. I would like to see him rush for 1,000 and pass for that would be insane. But again, that's Heisman. That's Heisman stuff. That's Heisman stuff for sure. I just don't know if you run him for 1,000 yards. Not when you got Trey Benson back there, who some people say, at least I've heard this, and they ain't even really started spring practice yet. Some people say what you saw from Trey Benson last year was literally him just scratching the surface. Some people say he's gotten so much better that you should watch it. Like, there's a lot of hype for Trey. We talking about Jordan Travis, and deservedly so. There's a lot of people on the inside that think Trey Benson is going to blow up on a national level. And if that's the case, Travis ain't running for no 1,000, and nor do you even want or need him to run for 1,000 if Trey Benson is that. Jeff says, I don't know if he could have thrown for 4,000 yards, but I think we got close because we do play a lot of trash teams. You ain't wrong, Jeff. This schedule, I think, lines up well for us.
Bitch, be humble. Bitch, sit down. Be humble. Sit down.
I couldn't believe from the meeting Friday how much FSU and Clemson is carrying the ACC. Hell, I believe it. I've only been saying it. I've been wanting out of this conference for years now. So it doesn't surprise me a bit, Travis. Not one bit. 1250 for Benson this year. And we played in Jimbo's and that. And you played in a very slow-paced offense with Jameis. Jameis he already was, in my opinion, and it's crazy that the man played in recent times and people have already forgot about Jameis. They hated him that much. Jameis is one of the most hated quarterbacks that I can remember in the modern college football era. He don't get the same love as Tebow. And that, we know the scandal that was around that he was never charged with. So you can't even say he was proven innocent because he was never charged with a crime, just an accusation. And I think it's just because of that he don't get the credit he deserves. Jameis is one of the all-time great college quarterbacks, period. Point blank. No more questions need, period. Period. Jameis is the all-time great quarterback. Hell, check his record. What is his record? A gazillion and one? He lost one game his entire college career? Mike about to turn Benson from bionic leg to the bionic man, right? 2,000-yard rusher would be insane. He ain't no Dalvin now. Let's slow down. That would be crazy, though. That would be crazy, man. But, hey, thank y'all for kicking it with me tonight. This was a fun live stream. You know, we just talked, random talks. But we out here getting paid, y'all. We out here getting, well, now I won't say we, because I ain't seeing none of that money, even though Florida State, if y'all want to throw me a little bit of cash, I'm not going to turn it down. But our coordinators are getting paid. Our assistants are getting paid. Our head coach is getting paid. Oh, and by the way, the ACC, you need to pay us or we getting out of here. This stuff, Florida State is not playing, and we are making moves, and we are in the process of showing that we are serious about college football again. If you're a Florida State fan, you have to love it. And my only request is y'all give Fuller time. Let's not be so down on Adam. I get it. He might not be the best recruiter, but we'll see. We'll see if winning games turns the table on the recruiting this year. And we'll see if having a bunch of talent on defense makes y'all shut up about Adam Fuller. Look, again, he ain't the greatest of all time. Hell, he's not, name a great D coordinator, right? He's not, I won't necessarily say he's that. He's obviously not Mickey. He's probably not Mark Stoops. Mark Stoops at Florida State. But damn it, the man just fielded a top 15 defense this year. I don't know. When's the last FSU defensive coordinator that did that? Give him his credit. Give him give him this year. With the talent that we think we have, if this defense is playing out of position, if we're giving a big chunk, we know what we're looking at. I think we do anyway. If we watching it and we just don't like what we seeing, valid criticism can come. But until then, all I ask is let's give Fuller a little bit of time. Stop the senseless. I'm calling a ceasefire, damn it. Stop the senseless Adam Fuller hate. Let's give him this season to prove who and what he is. And with all that said, man, hit that like button on the way out if you didn't hit it on the way in. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. And I will see y'all tomorrow, because we're going to do this again tomorrow as we take a deeper dive. Tomorrow we're going to take a deep dive into getting out of the ACC and what this means, not only for Florida State, but for the rivals, for college football in general. And as the balance of power continues to shift in college football, and the only two conferences that seem to matter are the SEC and the Big Ten, FSU is trying to position themselves to be a part of that. And again, be excited if you're a Florida State fan. With all that said, man, it's your boy POLK over here on 863 Seminole TV. Stay classy, Seminoles, and we got you. Go Noles.